Hi, welcome back to AtoBeezeBooks. I'm Ryan, and today we'll be doing another weekly recap where I let you know what I've been reading, watching, any new books that will be hitting the shelves, screen, book to screen adaptations, and anything else that's kind of happening in the bookish world. So if that's interesting, stick around. So, what have I been reading this week? We have basically two books. Well, okay, so we have two books. First is The Maid, which I did finish, and I ended up rating it 3 stars. I enjoyed aspects of the book, but then there were other things that would take me out of the experience of reading. For example, a lot of the law and like court procedural stuff was just kind of silly. Like, she had a lawyer, and then when she was testifying against the defendant, it was her lawyer doing the cross examination. However, in reality, it would more than likely be the prosecution, not her personal defense lawyer for when she was accused. So, like, that didn't really make sense. And then just little things like that that would just take me out of the reading experience. But then the things that I did like about it is I wasn't expecting it to be so cozy and for the characters to be so likable and just this like ragtag team found family aspect. So for those reasons, I really enjoyed it. And I do think that I will be reading the next books in the series. I've also been continuing to read Rebecca, and I've made progress and finally made it to the party scene. And without spoilers, I have not felt this much anger and like frustration towards a character, not the main character, a side character, in a really long time. Like, for example, today on my drive home from work, I was listening to the book and I was so frustrated and just wanted to like, I don't know, I had like I have like a visceral feeling towards this person and I cannot stand them. Um, and I also find that like I cannot relate to the main character, Mrs. De Winters, with some of her actions. Like I just feel I understand it was a totally different time when this book was written, so she like could not have taken the actions that I would want to take and like properly stand up for herself, but it's like really frustrating to read. But I'm still enjoying it and my game plan is to finish that book this week. And then for what I've been watching, we watched the entire season 2 of Squid Games, and it started off so strong, but then I found kind of like the finals were people I wasn't necessarily rooting for. So it was just kind of like a anticlimactic ending, basically. If you see the flashing, I'm watching the finale of Dancing with the Stars right now. So it's going a little crazy. New to shelves this week, I have 2 books that piqued my interest. The first is called The Library of Fate by Margaret Harrison. And it is about a rare book that can tell the future. And it seems like the librarian passes away or goes missing. So then 2 former students kind of have to work together to make sure that this book does not end up in the wrong hands. And then second is The Heir Apparent by Rebecca Armitage. And I really thought that like I recognized that name and I just was sure I've like read a book by this person, but I haven't. I don't think she's really written much, but she is a journalist from Australia for ABC. But the odds that I've like consumed her work is very minimal, but she does a lot of stories on the royals and royalty. So this book is about a young girl who is really like making her own way in the world, and she like lives on a small farm with 2 friends, which sounds awesome. And then a helicopter comes down and they're like, your grandfather has died, you have to take up the throne of England. Turns out she's a princess and she has publicly denounced the title and that job. So then her grandmother gives her a year to make a decision on if she's going to take on the role. And so I presume the story is just about her kind of decision making, and she sees some aspects of the role that she likes. So I thought it was interesting. And then I don't think anyone better could write this book because it seems like Rebecca Armitage has like a lot of background with royalty and the English royal family. Both of those books that I've mentioned come out December 2nd. So for books to screen adaptation, we have one movie that was interesting, which is Hamnet. And that is based off of the book with the same name by Maggie O'Farrell. It's a historical fiction novel that reimagines the life of William Shakespeare's family, and it tells it from his wife's perspective. And it is from the time when he leaves his family behind in Stratfordshire, when he goes off, or Stratford, sorry, when he goes off to London. And the three main stars are Jessie Buckley, Paul Mescal, and Joe Alwyn. It looks good. I actually really do want to watch this, contrary to last week's Wicked, where I had like no interest. But this one I do want to see. I don't know if I'll see it in theaters or I'll wait for it to come out on one of the streaming services. But it seems really interesting because I don't know a lot about William Shakespeare. For 75 days booked, I'm still doing well and I'm still logging all of my reading that I've been doing in my trusty little notepad. I find it fun to see kind of the progress that I make each day in the books. So I'll just keep doing what I'm doing. And I think, I'm nearly halfway there with no issues. So that's exciting. So that's all I have for you this week. I hope you enjoyed, and I will see you next week with another video. Goodbye.